Welcome to Gigi's Gluten-Free Cooking. I'm Gigi, the gluten-free grandma. Today, we're going to dive into a new baking series where we'll be looking at both savory and sweet popovers, muffins, and cupcakes. Because of the chemical content of gluten-free flours, I highly recommend you invest in a couple of pieces of equipment. A good quality large blender with a strong motor and a stand mixer. One of the key secrets to success with gluten-free baking is compensating for the density of the chemical content of gluten-free flours, meals, and starches that are not present in wheat-based flours. If you want to know more about the differences, please read my article called Fundamental Flour Facts, which is available on the homepage of our website. Leavening, which means rising in baked goods, is very different in gluten-free baking than in regular wheat-based baking. It's the reason that most gluten-free baking looks and tastes like hockey pucks, dry, heavy, and dense. It's because the gluten-free flours lack the gluten that makes them rise. It took me several years of experimenting, but I have finally found several techniques that make gluten-free baking rival anything a wheat-based baker could produce. I'm going to show the tricks you'll need to wow family and friends. The most important ingredient is air. You need to get air into the batter to compensate for the lack of gluten. You must create chemical reactions and whipping techniques to make this happen. This is where the blender and stand mixer come in. Smaller devices and handheld beaters are not powerful enough to accomplish this. So today, we're going to start with the simplest recipe, Tapioca-Cheese Popovers. My son Spencer introduced me to this recipe, which he found on the internet. I apologize to the creator. I don't know who you are, but I'd like to give you credit for the original idea, which I have modified to some degree. Spencer's son is my special guest for this episode. He's going to help me measure and pour the ingredients we need to make these amazing tapioca cheese popovers. They are incredible and soon became a staple in our household. This recipe is going to take into account all these allergies. These little popovers are quick and easy replacements for buns when serving soups, stews, pasta dishes, and even sandwiches. The first thing you need to do is preheat the oven to 400 degrees. The ingredients for this recipe makes 24 medium-sized popovers. My grandson is going to help by measuring and pouring the ingredients into the blender. We're going to use 1 cup of oil. I use avocado, but any vegetable oil will work. 1 cup of milk. I use lactose-free 2% cow's milk, but feel free to experiment with other options. And 3 eggs. These eggs are really special. They're from my caregiver's hens, and they come in these beautiful colors. We also need 1.5 cups of grated cheese. I use 1 cup of grated smoky Gouda because it's nice and stringy. And I also use half a cup of grated old white cheddar. In addition, we need 3 cups of tapioca starch, also called tapioca flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1½ teaspoons of mixed Italian spice. But feel free to experiment with other flavors like herb de Provence, basil, or oregano. Add the salt and spices to the tapioca starch and mix well. One of the things you should be aware of is that gluten-free flours need to be measured very, very carefully. You can't take the measuring container and tamp it down or scoop it off. You have to spoon it in very carefully. Otherwise, you're going to get too much. Okay, here we go. In the large blender, thank you very much. We're going to put the spoon back because we're going to need that in a minute. In the large blender, we're going to start by placing the eggs, the milk, and the oil in there. Yes, please. Yeah. Good. And break it into here so no shells. Good. I'll take the shell. Now you can put it into the blender. Look how bright the egg yolk is. It's really orange, isn't it? I wonder if they'll all be the same, with them being different colored eggs. Good. Well done. Into the bowl. Good. How'd you do? Great. A little bit of eggshell. If you get a bit of eggshell in, you just dip the shell in and lift it out. There, you go ahead and give it a try. Use the edge of the eggshell to scoop out the bit that fell in. Good, you got it. Well done. Excellent. Okay, now we can put that egg in the blender. That's why you put the eggs in another bowl first, just in case you get any eggshell. Good. Sorry, just put it on the counter, dear. Yep, pull hard. Give it a pull. Yeah, good for you. And there's no eggshell this time, right? Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Okay, you can put that one in. Now we're going to add the oil. Just pour it in with the eggs. And the milk. Next ingredient is the cheese. We're going to put that in the blender. Thank you very much. Great. Good. Okay, we're going to put the lid on tight. We don't want it to pop off while we're blending. And as we're blending, we start at the lowest setting and gradually work our way up to the highest. Remember, the goal is to get as much air in the batter as we can. So once these ingredients are well blended, as they are now, we're gradually going to add the tapioca starch in 3 batches. Now you're going to spoon in about 1/3 of the mixture. Good, yeah. A little bit more. And 1 more spoonful. So we're going to stop now, and we're going to blend the starch into the eggs, milk, and oil. So put that back on, and you're going to start at low, and you're gradually going to work up to liquefy, and then hold it on liquefy for about a minute or 30 seconds. Go. Okay, now we're going to add another third, just like you did before, about 3 spoonfuls. Good, now you're going to put the lid back on and gradually work it back up. Go ahead and stop. Excellent. Remember, you should scrape down the edges in case any flour has gotten stuck on the side. This is so easy. Anybody can do it. Great. Okay, now we're going to add the last of the flour. Do you need the spoon to just scrape it off the bottom a bit? Good. Great. Well done. Okay, I'll take that now. We're going to put the lid back on. We're going to do one final scrape and make sure that we have all the tapioca starch down in the batter. Grease the wells in the muffin trays. I use spray oil and medium-sized muffin pans. Sometimes I use the larger muffin trays or Yorkshire pudding trays, depending on what I'm using the popovers for. The larger ones are suitable for bun replacements for hot beef and chicken sandwiches. Fill each muffin well half full. I'm going to get my assistant to fill each one half full. Going to want 2 hands here, it's very heavy. Good, okay, that's more than enough, yeah. So less the next time. Good. Keep going, yeah. Bake in a preheated oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. When you take them out of the oven, place them on a cooling rack. At this point, I tip the popover halfway so the bottom doesn't steam and get soft. These store well in the refrigerator for a couple of days. They even freeze well as leftovers. To reheat, when they're thawed, You can put them in the microwave for 10 seconds. They're nice and soft. For even better results, you can reheat them in the air fryer. It makes them nice and crispy. Either way, they are amazing and absolutely delicious. They're so quick and easy to make, you can whip up a batch for dinner on short notice. Your family and friends will be very impressed. Remember, the secret is getting air into the batter. That's why you need a large, powerful blender. Thank you for watching Gigi's Gluten-Free Cooking. I'd like to say a special thank you to my grandson for all his help today making the Tapioca-Cheese Popovers. It's been such a joy sharing this experience with him. If you enjoyed this gluten-free recipe hint, please give the video a thumbs up and like. If you'd like to see more gluten-free tips and tricks, please subscribe. We appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next video where I'll introduce you to cupcakes and muffins.